This episode is brought to you by our great host, Anchor. It's the best podcasting host we've ever had, and it's got to be the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you why. First of all, it is free. No charges at all for hosting your podcast. Also makes distributing your podcast so easy to all the major platforms with just a click of a button. And the best part of all is that you can make money from your podcast. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. This thing's got everything you need to make a podcast all in one place.
Dave, I don't know if this matters much to the audience, but when we're recording this specific episode, it's our first episode of our now yearly traditional Thanksgiving week marathon day where we record, 3 to 4 episodes in a whole day just because, we have the day off work.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years in a row now, so I'm going to call it a tradition.
I think so too. It's a great tradition. I actually took the entire week off.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, I worked. Yeah, I worked Monday and Tuesday. Took today, and I don't work again until Monday. So there we go. I don't know when this episode will release, so this might be, not timely information, but I don't care. I'm just talking to you, brother.
It's absolutely amazing to just have this time and this space. We got Arya the dog here watching over proceedings.
Yep, good old Arya. Yep.
We got a cooler full of what's in there, Ben?
We got the champagne of beers, Miller High Life, and this is actually my first experience with Miller High Life.
Yeah.
I've had Miller Lite. I've had basically just Miller Lite when it comes to Miller, but I've never had Miller High Life. And
what are your initial thoughts on this new experience?
It's a game changer, bro. It is a game changer.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it tastes like Miller Lite to me, to be honest.
Yeah,
but,
it's actually a little sweeter.
Yeah.
The alcohol content's a little higher, so I think I'm breaking my lower carb rule just a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. I don't like carbs, but I drink beer.
Yep. We've got. My wife also made chicken tacos. Those are in the warmer there, and we have tortillas for you.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Give tortillas to the fat guy. So I appreciate that. You do you, bro.
Ben, what are we talking about today? As we kick things off you called it Friendsgiving, but that's pretty lame.
Yeah, that is lame.
Podsgiving at least?
Yeah, Podsgiving. There you go. Okay. I like that. Yeah, Podsgiving. It's the day, again, where we dedicate it to podcasts.
Yep. I just want everybody to know your bad phrase there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And today, obviously, you can tell by the title of the episode, we're going over a foreign film it's getting a lot of buzz around it. Some great reviews. It's called Parasite. It came out again this year. I was looking at IMDb, and the genre is comedy, drama, thriller, mystery.
Yeah.
This movie's all over the place.
And all of those do make sense.
Yes, absolutely.
And, so this would be technically our second foreign film, right? If you count Roma.
Yeah, Roma.
Is there another one there that we might have done?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think this is the fully subtitled movie that we've done. So
not to get off into a tangent, but what would you say is the more foreign of the two in terms of just because you're reading subtitles,
right?
And
I would say this one, Parasite. I mean, because Roma, I don't know. I guess being in America, we're more familiar, I guess, with Spanish language and.
Oh, that one was more of a period piece.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I would say this Parasite is definitely modern time. Yeah. I would assume.
One of the things I was struck by was the integration of American culture. And I don't know if this movie was made with American audiences in mind. I would assume probably.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, especially, with him teaching the girl English and stuff.
Right. There was American Indian stuff with the headdress.
Yep.
And then the kid shooting arrows and stuff. She's like, yeah, I bought these from the U.S. So I think they must be. Is this sort of like when sort of like action movies, they throw in a Chinese character or a China setting to appeal to the Chinese audiences?
Right. No. Yeah, I definitely think so. Yeah, it's you got to make it accessible to all people. But yeah, I mean, or were you? Are you a fan of? Not a fan, but does subtitles throw you off when watching a movie like this?
Not particularly. because I tend to watch. There's a lot of movies where I end up turning the subtitles on, or TV shows, either because the dialogue is muddled, or I just really like. Wait, what did they say here?
Right, you don't want to miss anything.
Yeah. So I'm sort of used to it. So subtitles by themselves don't throw me. But similar to Roma, it's harder to read the performance of the actor.
I 100% agree there. Yeah, because you don't get all the little facial expressions and the emotion they're trying to convey.
You definitely lose something there.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, this one, it's definitely an interesting start, interesting premise. I went into this not watching a trailer, not reading. I read the quick synopsis that's on IMDb, but I didn't see any trailers, didn't read any in-depth reviews of it. I just was aware that this one's getting a lot of buzz. So I had no idea what to expect with this one.
Yeah, well, I knew even less because I didn't even hear this movie until you suggested doing it yesterday. So here we are.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a chance for Oscars. I mean, I haven't seen any other forum, but just reading, how I'm a big awards guy, but reading, awards predictions, this is definitely front runner for best foreign film. But it also could get other nominations for it, possibly best picture, best screenplay, something like that. But yeah, I'm with you there. It's harder to read performances when you have to read subtitles. Now, right away we get a sense of the poverty-stricken family that we're dealing with. Right away we see that they're the free Wi-Fi they were using no longer has a password, or they need a password for it, so they can no longer use it for free.
Right, they're sort of in a basement.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Weird spot.
Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting because, South Korea is a pretty wealthy country. For, what we would think maybe. I mean, we know of big corporations. There's Samsung, LG,
right,
Hyundai, Kia, stuff like that, and I think they have a pretty high standard of living. They're one of the richer countries in the world, but there's poverty everywhere.
Right. Yeah. There is that class difference, that you see here. And yeah, I mean, because obviously this family starts working for a rich family.
Yeah.
And they, I like this scheming that's involved, with getting into it. First you have the teenage character who is met by his friend who was once tutoring this girl to teach English, and then he asks if he could do it, so he goes and he fakes a resume and stuff by his sister who's good at Photoshop.
It just shows how different these worlds are.
Right, definitely. I was talking to Vinny about it, and yeah, he was bringing up how this movie kind of compares. You can see parallels with this and Joker, with the class divide. You know, you got the rich and the poor, and all that.
That's a great take. I mean, that's a big thing in this movie, clearly.
Yeah,
and even what do they say about the rich housewife, that family, the Park family?
Mm-hmm.
They were saying how naive she is, how trusting she is.
Right.
But in her world, the people that she interacts with aren't, as far as she knows, aren't trying to screw her over.
Right.
That's not where it's not cutthroat.
Definitely. And they even bring up in the movie that she's someone says she's rich and nice, and then I think the dad says no, she's nice because she's rich. Because they don't have to deal with the modern or regular problems like people in poverty, things like that. So yeah, I liked how it touched on that. That was a nice touch. What's your take on this rock? So this kid comes and gives. I'm gonna butcher all the names, so I'm not even gonna say them. He gives the kid in this movie, I guess the protagonist in this movie, the rock from his grandfather. What's your take on that?
I don't know. They seems to have some value beyond it just being a rock.
Right.
It's a symbol, and that's something maybe a little bit missing from this culture that I don't quite understand.
Yeah.
Because they're one of they call it like a scholar rock or something in the beginning, and it's supposed to bring good fortune or wealth to whoever possesses it. The dad immediately understands what this is, what the symbology of it.
Right.
It's more than a rock. So and then the son, and then towards the end, he's like cradling it. He won't let go of it. So I think it's this belief that if I have this thing, it will help me. And then eventually you have to let that go, because it's not, the rock doesn't mean anything actually. It's what you think of it. But the world is still there and out there and crushing you. Just having a rock isn't going to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's, I think it's supposed to represent a mountain. So I don't know if it's like, you're, basically just trying to climb this mountain your whole life. And
the rich family lived on a mountain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So that's part of it.
Definitely. So getting back to the scheming, I thought this was a nice touch to the film. The son gets in, he's going to tutor their daughter, and then she says something about her son, how he's had some trauma that happened to him in first grade or something, and then
he's a brilliant artist,
and that's when our hero protagonist character comes in and says he knows a friend of a friend whose cousin is in who does tutor art. She's really good. She went to Chicago for school, all this, and so right away you're thinking, oh, his sister was good at Photoshop, she's probably good at art, and now she sneaks in and is now the tutor for this young boy.
Yeah, I happen to know someone.
Yep, just happen to know someone. And then right away, she gets a drive home from the Mr. Park's driver, and she sets a little trap for him. She takes her panties off, leaves him in the car.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: do you think the parents were in on this, or was this totally the siblings hatching this on their own?
I think the siblings initiated the idea, but the parents were totally for it.
Yeah, they were not opposed at all. But I was just they weren't in on it in the beginning.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
But we learned about this family. Not only they're poor, but they've suffered a long string of failures. Right? It was like a bake shop and a chicken place.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
All these businesses have failed, and the guy with the dad was a driver.
Right.
Really failures.
Yeah,
but not. Go ahead.
No, they didn't touch on it a lot, but there's pictures of him. He looks like he used to be an athlete of some sort.
He had a medal that he was saving,
and stuff. And then, not to get into to the end or anything, but I'm going to. After their house was flooded and everything, there's a great quote from the dad. Kind of saying, talking about plans. Trying to find the quote here.
We're spoiling this, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Well, I noticed that the idea of a plan was peppered throughout this movie.
Right.
The characters are, the dad especially, and, you got to have a plan. What's your plan? He's asking other characters.
Right. And, you got to have a plan. And then he comes to just realize after this stuff that we'll get into in a minute here, he says, I'm going to read the quote. You know what kind of plan never fails? No plan at all. You know why? Because life cannot be planned. Look around you. Do you think these people made a plan to sleep in the sports hall with you? But here we are now, sleeping together on the floor, so there's no need for a plan. You can't go wrong with no plans. We don't need to make a plan for anything. It doesn't matter what will happen next. Even if the country gets destroyed or sold out, nobody cares. Got it? So, it's very dark and pessimistic.
Giving up a little bit, right?
Right, yeah, definitely giving up. And, it's, and that's what his son was kind of trying to do, was have a plan for his future. And I think that kind of goes back to The Rock a little, having this thing that will bring him something.
It is true, though. I mean, everyone tells you need a plan for life. And then just as many people tell you, that you think so. Good luck with that 5-year plan, because in 5 years you'll be somewhere totally different than you imagined. So it is kind of interesting to think about that, because life does shit on you. But at the same time, you can't just do nothing, right, and just hope things come to you. So.
Right, definitely not. Yeah, you gotta do something. Yes, I can understand why he's feeling this way at this moment when he's talking about not having a plan. But you can't just not do anything.
The other thing I noticed too, the smelling. This was class. I mean, totally. If you don't smell good,
right?
It's a symbol. If you're poor, you smell.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Well, because right when the smell first gets brought up, it's the little boy saying, "Oh, she smells just like the driver, and he smells just like the tutors," and it's just like, okay, yeah. But it is about
they can literally sniff out that you're poor,
right? Exactly. Yeah.
Don't belong.
Yeah, and then eventually the dad has had it with that, which he takes action on at the end. But yeah, I just love their scheming to get into this house. All four of them somehow get jobs with this rich family, scheming to let the dad be the driver because of the whole panties situation found in the car.
What were you? I want to know if you were thinking the same thing. This movie, you're not really sure where it's going to go.
Right.
You kind of. I think you're telegraphed in some way that it's going to get dark. Right. But you just don't know how and when.
Yes.
I was wondering is this film, are they just going to murder them and just take their house?
I had no idea because I mean, people were raving about this movie and I just knew that it had to be one of those movies where something big happens. Yeah. And I had no idea as I was watching it what was going to happen. Like I was just watching it as it unfurled and it surprised me.
So what they essentially do is the Park family already has a driver, a live-in maid, and the Kim family moves their way in and gets those people fired and takes their jobs.
Right.
And what really sets everything off is that older, the former live-in housekeeper shows up one night, ringing the doorbell, and this is when the family goes off camping. Right. This is great because the Kim family is drunk. By the way, the kids are drunk like all the time with their parents.
Well, this is also when I thought something big was going to happen because the dad like freaks out for a minute, wipes things off the table, and grabs the mom, and then he says he was just kidding. I was like, oh, okay.
But speaking of, I think I'm sorry, I don't know any of the actors, I don't know any of the directors.
It's okay.
I can't pronounce these names, so just go on IMDb, I guess, right? Because I don't know what the point is. Right. Trying, but I thought this particular actor, the guy who plays the father, the Kim father, was great. I think this is the best performance of the movie.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. What's his name? Sun Kyun Lee.
Exactly. So Sun Kyun Lee, great performance. And you actually, what's so good, just a testament to the movie, is when you're watching a foreign film and you get the jokes, you get the subtleties of what they're saying and what they're doing. It's very hard to pull off. It's difficult, as we said earlier, to read and watch at the same time. But really, I think from second 5, when the son is trying to get that Wi-Fi, as you mentioned, I'm kind of engaged. There's something about this film that's very engrossing. It just sucks you right into the action.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it didn't take long to get used to the environment and what they were going through.
And I don't know anything about South Korean film. I don't know anything about this director. I don't know if he's the greatest South Korean director of all time, if he's their Scorsese or if he's a new guy.
Maybe.
I don't know, but that's okay. It's actually maybe better, I think, for us to jump into this thing with completely fresh eyes.
Yeah. No,
we don't have any biases.
Yeah, no bias, thinking like, oh, this director's great, so I'm most likely going to like it. And
although we're slightly biased because we got good reviews. So
that's true too. Yeah,
this is a really good movie.
Yeah,
now I have to put my movie critic on.
I also you see a difference in class even below them. They keep seeing this homeless guy outside their basement, like pissing and everything like that.
Everybody looks down on somebody.
Right. Yeah. So there's that too, which is an interesting element. But yeah, actually, go ahead.
Sorry. One other thing I want to mention before the piss outside. Well, everyone seems to be really hammered.
Right.
By the way, the peeing. I felt like the rain was almost a symbol for urine, because you have the rich people high up and then it floods.
Right, yeah.
And floods out all the poor people. That was almost like the rich pissing on the poor.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's great symbolism.
Grabbing on that. Because I don't know how that works. I don't know if South Korea is like that, where the rich people live higher up.
Right.
Almost like, maybe like Los Angeles.
Right, yeah.
Where the wealthy Beverly Hills living up in the mountains and in the hills.
Sure,
The peons are down below.
Yeah.
I don't know if
the
it's
peons.
like that. Peons, literally. Is that where that comes from? No, we got to
Probably.
tweet at us. The peons is literally getting
That's
peed
great.
on. That's okay.
Yeah, we like that. No, but yeah, that's a great point and great symbolism. And as the younger character kept saying, he said a lot in the film. He said, so metaphorical. So I think that was, I think that's what this movie's trying to do, is bring up these metaphors.
Yeah.
And I think back to The Rock, I think The Rock essentially could be the parasite, that kind of infected the family, it kind of, because it just spread from there, you know?
That's actually great. Because we touched on this earlier. He had to let go of it to actually move forward. So it's not The Rock, which is a symbol of this almost, I don't want to call it greed, but this desire to take, not earn it.
Right. Yeah. To better your life by just taking. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. Because at the end, the son, he determines on his own that I'm going to make enough money to do this thing that I want to do.
Sure.
And it didn't have anything to do with The Rock.
Right.
The Rock is, the symbol it's like a poison in your mind.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Yeah. So, I definitely think that's where, because I was trying to think the whole movie, why is it called The Parasite or Parasite? Yep. And so, I definitely think it kind of starts with that.
Great point.
And then, parasites.
I think we figured it out, dude.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so let's get into this turn here, which we detoured off of, and then just move through the end here is when this housekeeper shows up.
Mm-hmm. And she, because she got fired because they found out she was allergic to peaches. And they were like sprinkling peach dust on her to make her have allergy fits.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's a bit of I don't want to call it a caper. In a sense.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the mystery element.
Yeah.
It almost reminded me of, it's totally stupid to say, but like Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Because they'd walk, they scrape the fuzz off peaches, put it into a little vial, and then would walk by her and just like throw the dust on her.
Right, yeah.
It reminds me of like, how you're walking by and you do that, but it reminds me of that kind of a movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like a mystery adventure trying to crack a safe, or there's just a way to get this woman out of this job because she was locked in. She was there before for the architect that owned the house prior to this family moving in. She stayed on.
Yeah. And that's how she knew there was that whole cellar beneath.
So let's get it.
Let's get into that. They use the peaches to get her out. And I like how the driver basically says like, I was just happened to be in the hospital. I took a selfie for my wife and I heard her talking about that she had tuberculosis and all that. They're having a good time
practicing his lines.
Right. Yeah, that was a good touch. They're just basically kind of making a script for it all.
Yeah, he was like too loud and the son's like, your emotion is way up here.
Yeah, he's being the director of this heist. So they're having a good time at the rich people's house because they're out of town camping. It starts raining and everything, and they get a knock on the door, and it's the old housekeeper saying she needs something. She left something down in the basement, and they, reluctantly let her in. And as of now, she just thinks it's a housekeeper there. She follows her down to the cellar.
She's like, I forgot something.
Yeah. It's and you go down this long corridor of a cellar, go down the stairs,
and now we're into where are we?
Yeah.
What's happening? Like,
this is where I thought it was like, all right, is this going to turn into a horror film?
Yeah, are there like people? Are there like hordes of people waiting under there to do something?
Yeah.
What in God's name is happening?
Right, and it's her husband who's been down there for 4 years. That she obviously keeps going down and feeding and all that. He's hiding from creditors, aka loan sharks.
Yeah. Well, because she says like this is one of the little bits of humor in here is this goes in perfect. It's creditors, right? Well, what she says is rich people build bunkers under their houses because of Kim Jong-un, the North Koreans.
Right.
And I don't want to go too far, but it's interesting the way that gets brought up in the movie a couple of times.
Definitely.
They have a crazy neighbor like just above them.
I know.
And this must weigh on their psyche all the
I'm
time.
sure.
It must manifest itself in things like media and just all their thoughts. But it's funny because she talks about something so serious, like they build a bunker in case there's a missile attack, and she's like, or creditors. Well, like, what do you need a bunker for creditors?
Nuclear attack or predators. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Totally the same. Yeah. Good stuff. So yeah, essentially her husband's down there, and then I forget what happened. Oh yeah, the family falls down the stairs that she didn't know was there, and she hears the tutor call him dad, and she's recording this, and then basically she has what's essentially a nuclear missile,
the husband's like,
button.
This send button is like, you've got your hand on the nuclear missile button. This is great. We have so much power. And they're like getting sort of drunk on that power.
Right. So yeah, this is where the suspense starts to build up. They eventually get the upper hand on the old maid and her husband, tie him up, all that. And then, they get a call saying, we're going to be home in 8 minutes. Can you have food ready? Things didn't go well. It was raining or something like that.
That meal actually looked quite good.
I know it did. Yeah, the ramen,
with the raw beef sauteed. Looked good. I'd like a dish of that, even though I don't.
You want to stop now and just eat this? Go make that.
You have 8 minutes, and we're not 8 minutes away from clearing this thing up.
And they don't even thoroughly clean; they just shove stuff under it and everything. So I thought so that's when the suspense starts to build up, and the teenager hides under the bed of the other teenage girl. The other girl hides under like a coffee table in the living room, and then when the new maid, the mom of the film, makes the ramen, is bringing it towards the owner of the house, the old maid comes up and is kind of disarrayed because they put peaches on her to make her allergy. She just kicks her down the stairs.
A lot of peaches.
Yes.
And just because she sort of comes up as out of the shadow,
right?
Just kicks her back. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, no, it was, but then
until I saw the tumble, and concrete,
and then hitting her head in the concrete, like Jesus. So that happens, and then. So I mean, and then the family's kind of stuck in the house because the family's there now, and they decide to sleep in the living room because the little kid wants to sleep out in the tent. They have to listen to them fool around on the couch, which is awkward. But that's when he talks about the smell, right?
That's because he starts smelling. He's like, I smell. I forgot the dad's name.
Yeah,
and then he's literally under them.
Yeah,
and he starts smelling his own shirt. It's like what the hell? It's on me. I can't get rid of it.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's not just it's more than that. I mean, you literally. He's a different class of person.
Right.
And you can't really escape it.
Definitely.
A funny thing there, though, because he starts rubbing her boob, and she's like clockwise or something. I thought that was funny. And then she puts her hand down his pants, and I was just waiting for him to say something like a critique, like.
Yeah,
he's like counterclockwise. I was just waiting for that joke, just for him to say something to her about how she was doing it wrong. But you can't get every dirty joke you want.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I know you're always looking for them dirty jokes. Like if I was directing this, I would have had her said this.
But they're underneath. They're like, what do we do now? Yeah. And the boys outside camping in the rain.
Right. Yeah, and then they.
By the way, the one more American reference:
go ahead.
Boy Scouts. Because they're doing the Morse code thing. Another American infiltration.
Definitely.
So, and they're also, what they say about something about, they're Christians or something as well. So I don't think Koreans were, obviously Christianity came to Korea at some point.
Yeah, must have,
But I thought that was also.
Yeah, definitely interesting. Yeah, they're definitely very, it's not like North Korea. It's crazy, like how close they are, and how different living is.
I know. Well, back to my question in the beginning. What's more foreign? Is it modern North Korea or 70s Mexico? I don't know now. So
yeah, seriously, I don't know.
The language is so difficult, though.
100%. Yeah, I'll never learn it. So,
but it makes with Spanish, you have some familiarity,
right? Yeah,
closer connection. Korean makes no goddamn sense to me.
See. But speaking of the Morse code, you get the the guy kind of like banging the light switch with his head until it's bleeding, trying to send a message. And you got the little boy seeing it, writing it out, seeing what's happening. And then the family gets out, other than the maid, because she's at least supposed to be there. They get out and come, and it's been raining, and they come down to their, I don't know why I want to call it a village, but they come down to their city, and it's totally flooded and everything like that. Their basement's flooded.
The sewage just come out of the toilet.
Ugh. Nasty.
Miserable.
She starts smoking a cigarette while she's blocking the toilet.
I know they weren't really in like a big rush.
Right.
They're just sort of just accepting their fate.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do at that point?
This is life.
Yeah, this is.
I live in this shit.
And the dad's trying to save memorabilia and things like that. So it's sad, but yeah, they kind of accept it at that point. And then that's when we get them in the gym or whatever, and he brings up that point about not making plans.
Yeah. Did you think we'd be here?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's you understand his point. It's like, if you're a pessimist, why wouldn't I think that,
Yeah. Well, here's a guy who's seems like he's tried a lot, and smart guy, nice guy, somewhat, besides trying to defraud people.
Yes.
But, a hard worker, I think, and loves his family, wants to take care of his family. And he's like, I don't know how old he is, maybe in his 40s, 50s. And he's just kind of like,
do you think
I got nothing left?
Do you think they're bad people for doing what they did just to get jobs?
I mean, it's the letter of the law, yes. Well, not even the law, but it's unethical. But I think that's not what the movie's talking about.
I think no, I know. I'm just bringing that up.
Do you not think it's unethical to lie?
No, it definitely is. But say it was just the two, just him and his sister were the tutors.
Yeah, not so bad. I think involving the parents, involving the whole family.
Yeah,
because they're essentially just trying to. It's manipulation.
Yeah, blackmail. Yeah. Everything like that. So, yeah, no, I mean,
it's not right.
Wrong. Yeah,
but I do. The movie's making some good points that we can zero in on and appreciate, but I don't get really all of it. I'm not exactly sure what it's trying to say, unless it's sort of the thing where you leave the rock aside and then you'll become prosperous on your own, but that's not necessarily true. So
right.
I'm kind of missing the lesson.
Yeah, there might have been more things the wealthy man said, Mr. Park or whatever, that said like, I don't know what he said, but maybe there's more there that that will make sense. I don't know, but maybe after a second watch or something.
So things get really haywire here.
Yes,
because they can't get rid of this older couple, and they don't really know how to get rid of them.
Right?
Because they don't want to kill them.
Right? Yeah,
they just want them away.
Definitely, just get out of here. I want to say when. Mr. Park is driving, not Mr. Park. He's getting driven by the dad. I keep calling him the dad, so get used to it. He's the
only one I know the last name is Kim. That's all.
Kim, yeah. He starts smelling himself again, I think, as he's driving.
Yeah,
and
when he was driving, the wife she plugged her nose.
Oh, that's what it was. Yes, yeah. And she like rolled down the window and stuff, and he's just like. He's kind of had it at that point. Like, it's just like, I'm living in shit. Like, my house is full of shit. Yeah. And, here you are planning this party, this needless party for your boy who won't even appreciate it. You're inviting just adults and,
someone brings like the cello.
Right, yeah.
All this stuff. It's like,
yeah.
And that's what the son's like, I don't belong here.
I don't
even know who these people are or how do they even become what they are.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
But yeah, I mean, I think this movie's trying to just bring up that, again, the Parasite title, things spread, it doesn't just, you're successful at one thing. All right, let's push this even further. It's gonna keep spreading, it's gonna keep infecting what's here,
I wonder what the question is. The rich husband, what does he do? He hustled something? Did he hustle anything? He did it in a sort of so-called ethical way, but he made money. And did he deceive somebody at one point to get to his position, or did he sort of fudge fudge his credentials in order to get in with somebody else. You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know how he got there. And it's interesting how he keeps, when he's talking to Mr. Kim about like loving his wife. What do you think that was all about? Like he said, "Oh, you're doing it because you love your wife," and he said, "Yeah, we'll go with that."
She can't clean, she can't cook.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure what she does.
Yeah,
she has my son, or she
yeah.
bore my son. Other than that, yeah, it's not. It's that they're rich but not happy.
Right.
They have seemingly everything, and that house was, amazing.
I know.
Right? And that entrance, sort of that wall entrance into a garden.
Yeah.
Up into the house.
So great. Yeah. And then we get to the birthday party. Everyone's invited, the driver, the two tutors. And this is where even more shit goes down. This is so he brings the rock there, and he's going down to the basement. I assume to.
Why does he bring the rock?
I don't know. Maybe to get rid of it. I don't like it. I thought he was going to kill the other guy with it. The husband that's locked downstairs.
Maybe does he? Yeah, give them the rock for their good fortune.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to kill them. So I don't know.
I don't. Maybe I thought maybe he was going to kill him.
Oh, why? They're not murderers. All right. Well.
Yeah, that's no. You're right. Yeah, maybe the rock will bring them fortune. Maybe they'll. Maybe they'll appreciate it. This gift. Hey, I'm giving you a gift. Let's call this a truce. We'll let you out.
Maybe
I don't know. I'm just
trying to make things right,
grasping at straws here
because they gotta solve this problem,
right?
And they don't know how. And then he goes down there. He thinks he sees. Well, I don't know if he saw the wife or just a hoodie, but he's like, "Are you okay?" He's scared. If he was going down there to kill somebody, he would have just dropped a rock on the head of someone laying down, right, just to get it over with.
Right.
And that doesn't happen. Instead, he gets a garrote or something strung around his neck and then pulled into, he slots it into the pipes.
Yeah, because the wife essentially died from when that lady kicked her down the stairs, right?
Yeah, because she had like
a concussion and she felt dizzy. She died from that. The kid didn't know. So I guess you're right. I don't think he was there to kill him. But
Husband
when
was waiting,
he gets pulled by that dog catcher thing, like you said,
great action.
Definitely. Yeah, and it gets intense from here. And it's interesting too. Going back, the boy said he saw a ghost like back in first grade, and it was actually the husband that was locked down in the basement, just kind of creeping up. He has this like weird ass face, and then the kid like has a seizure over it or something.
So that's what the issue that happened. He saw that man,
right? Yeah,
and the family seemed to think ghosts were good. Ghosts were like some positive,
right? Yeah, they were like
some premonition that things were okay.
Right. It wasn't like a haunting thing or anything like that. It was. Dave, ghosts are bad. Basically the kid gets kind of captured here. And then in the meantime, Mr. Kim and Mr. Park are, playing with the kids. And this is where Mr. Kim kind of gets in with Mr. Park and is like telling him like, again, he talks about loving his wife. And Mr. Park's like, you're being paid to be here. This isn't, we're not talking about this. So he kept bringing that up.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Dave? I don't know.
Maybe a sense that he kept saying something about crossing the line.
Right.
And maybe that's what he was talking about. Whereas they think you're their friend.
Right.
And that they're sort of a part of the family. Maybe that line is, no, you're my employee.
Right.
You may see me every day and do everything I tell you, and we might joke and talk and stuff, but at the end of the day, you're just the help.
It's kind of like what I just watched Funny People again the other night, and that's what Adam Sandler tells Seth Rogen, like, we're not friends. Like, you work for me. You know, just he's being a dick.
So that's
but like
crossing the line. Maybe that's what that was.
You crossed the line. Yeah.
We might be sitting here together in hiding out with
Right.
2 Indian headdresses on, but don't take this as us being friends.
Right, exactly. This isn't fun. You're working right now. But then, so yeah, the guy captures our young teenager tutor guy. I keep messing up. Do you know what to call him? What's his name?
I'm just gonna let you hang there.
Okay. The protagonist. He's not really a protagonist though, but basically they get upstairs and then husband dude bashes him in the head with a rock.
Oh, wasn't thinking that was gonna happen.
And then cuts back, I think, to the party, and then back there, and he's sitting in a pool of blood. I think he's dead.
He hits him again.
Yeah, he hits him again, and I'm like, okay,
Well,
he's really dead. So
That's
I'm
like a
just
20-pound rock, right?
yeah. So I'm just like, what the hell is going on?
Just killed our favorite character. Well, maybe second favorite character, but yeah.
Our favorite character.
But I love the dad more, I think.
Yeah. But then they're bringing out the cake to the kid. Dude's walking through the party, bloody head and everything.
Grabs a butcher knife
and goes and stabs the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why'd he go for hers?
I don't know. Well, at first I thought it was the wife of Mr. Park. That just might be my ignorance of.
Then let's not go there.
Okay, let's not go there. But yeah, so yeah, he goes for her. Maybe that's the first person he saw that and he recognized from that night. Dave, it's going to be okay.
Yes.
Maybe, yeah, that's the first person he recognized from that night. But yeah, he goes and stabs her, and the kid right away sees the guy again and faints and like is having a seizure, and they're like, we got to go to the hospital. And he's telling Mr. Kim like, yo, you got to drive me. But Mr. Kim's like, no, I'm staying with, like, he didn't say this, but he's staying with his daughter because his daughter just got stabbed.
Yeah.
And then the other husband goes after the mom this time. They're fighting over, and then she finally kills him with the kebab knife with still got sausages on it.
That was great.
But then
Right through the side.
even again, this whole sequence is just it's just like crazy for lack of a better word. So yeah, I mean, but then Mr.
nice sunny garden place.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
High upper class people all
Right.
dressed in white and playing the cello and prancing in the meadow.
Right.
This man comes in, all of a sudden everyone's killing each other.
Yeah, because then Mr. Kim then goes after Mr. Park with a knife and stabs him. And this is actually right after he grabs the keys underneath the the other dead husband, and like is like doing the smelling thing again. So I think that's what set Mr.
That was the
Kim
trigger.
off. Yeah, that was
he smelled and that was it. That was
right.
I'm just tired of being looked down upon.
Right.
Because he can't even. He was going to help him, but he smelled him and just left him because he stunk too much.
Right. Yeah. That's
Too low class for my help.
Yeah. You're too smelly for me.
And that's it. Stabs him.
Yeah. And he's done.
Wow.
So that was
shocking. Oh, I don't know. I want to say. What do I want to say? This is crazy action, but I think some of it is kind of. My critique is it's a little bit somewhat out of nowhere and a little over the top.
I guess that's what I kind of like about it, though, because this movie you think is one thing, and then it just totally turns into another thing, which
Sort of Tarantino
sometimes,
style.
sometimes, exactly. I mean, you could definitely kind of compare this to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. There's no violence, and then all of a sudden, there's more violence you've ever seen in a 10-minute scene,
which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, like I thought this turn of events was shocking in a good way, and was just it served the movie well. So that all happens. Mr. Kim runs away. You get the kid in the hospital now. He wakes up. I thought he was dead. He's not.
How did he live?
I don't know. That's
how the hell did you live? But whatever.
The Rock is keeping him alive. I don't know.
It was great. He wakes up laughing. Yes,
and that's another thing Vinny brought up to me is just how that's like Joker. He had head trauma and now he can't stop laughing.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. But then he says he watches the house sometimes because people live there, and then he notices Morse code coming from there, and it's a letter from his dad basically saying I'm okay, which was nice. And then it's kind of is a fantasy scene because it shows that he buys the house because he became successful and everything like that. And then it flashes back to him writing his dad the letter again. So
that's his dream, right?
Yeah, that's his plan.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
his dream, which his dad told him not to have. But he's like, no, I'm gonna have this plan. This is my dream.
I thought that was a nice, I don't know how to call it a twist, but the dad basically, he escapes, but instead of escaping down the street, he goes back into the bunker.
Right, yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And something funny, which I just found hilarious to myself, and I think I'm assuming funny to South Korean audiences, is that he runs into the house and he's bloody, he's confused, he's manic, but he took off his shoes. And he's holding them.
Yeah.
And from what I know South Korean culture from Seinfeld, which is when Frank used to go to South Korea, met that girl when he was selling the, I don't know, Jesus figures or something like that. He went in the major conflict with the family was he wouldn't take his shoes off because he said he had a foot odor problem. So taking your shoes off in South Korea is very serious business. So even after you murder somebody, you still have enough courtesy to take your shoes off.
It's the moral thing to do, even after you murder someone. I actually didn't notice that.
But I'm always here to notice those things.
That's good stuff. This movie essentially ends on him writing the letter, and then we kind of get that same shot at the beginning of the film with the socks hanging from like the clothesline or whatever at night now. That's essentially what the film is. And again, as we talked about, it's a parasite, something you can get into your mind and just keep feeding and feeding and feeding. But if you don't use it for good or something that's not wholesome, but it can turn into mass murder, as we see here. We can go ahead and you want to rate this bad boy?
Yeah, it's hard to rate a foreign film, but
I don't know the language. I have to read. I have to read subtitles.
It's the first South Korean film I've ever seen, and again, going back to the beginning, I think it is directed or it's meant for American consumption.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think
not just for South Korean audiences. So
I agree.
So it helps us along, but it does a good job. So I'm gonna give it. I'll just say 3 stars. And I was engaged. It was only a little over 2 hours. So I'll say 3 and 3. I think this is a good movie. And I think that's fair. I don't. Very good foreign film. I think it will get nominated for something. I mean, it's not like I'm watching foreign films. So
exactly.
Nominated, but it got our attention, and I really enjoyed just about every minute of this film. I like the mystery, the drama, and the humor. Yeah,
I'm there with you with that. I would give it. I'll give it 3.5 stars. I do halvesies. And 3 buckets of popcorn. Yeah, I was engaged.
You would do eighths if you could.
Oh, I absolutely would. I think I tried that once. I think I said 3 3/4 once or something. But you wouldn't allow it. But anyways, I think 3.5 stars. It's definitely one of the best movies I've seen this year. It's I think I almost liked it better than Roma. So, we're gonna go ahead and end the show. But first, let me tell you about our Twitter. We are at BlockbusterCast. Dave is at Dave_Quist. I am at BCcord. And also we have a spin-off podcast called Disney Plus Talk. It's at Disney Plus Talk on Twitter and on all the major podcasting platforms. But we're gonna go ahead and end the show. For Dave, I'm Ben. Oh, and also be sure to rate us on iTunes, review us, and all that. So that's it for us. I'm Ben. That's Dave. And as always, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. We'll catch you guys
at the movies.